Yo, what is up guys and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got another review on the FUT birthday FIKAYO Tomori. We're going to go through the card, stats, clips and summary. Before we get into all of that, if I could ask you guys to please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you know when I upload, and comment down below if you're going to grab this card and what your thoughts are on it. And now, let's get into the video. So guys, this is the team that I used FIKAYO Tomori in. I played him of course in that centre-back slot in the 4-2-3-1 next to Sol Campbell and Zambrotta. And overall guys, my first impressions of this card, I think this card is very good. I don't know if it's whether it's just how the gameplay feels today or how I'm playing. He didn't feel as good as someone say like Tapsoba. However guys, I do think that this card is very good nonetheless. Let's just get into it though. FIKAYO Tomori, 6'1", medium work rates, right-footed, 5-star skill moves, 4-star weak foot, 4 games played, no goals scored and no assists. Now guys, the only thing I would pick up on here is those medium work rates. It may mean that his positioning is a little bit static or lazy, but overall guys, I would say if that was a high attacking work rate, then you'd feel a lot better about it. Otherwise, of course, with all of these FUT birthday cards, you can't really complain about much on these cards. Getting into the chemistry style, I put the shadow on him. You guys will see that in a second why, just to kind of help him out in key stats where I think it is needed. In terms of the attributes, guys, the key pros of the card, physically this card is really good, guys. Other than the stamina, which I do think is a problem, the physical stats are very good. He's got good strength, good aggression, and good jumping. Decent defending stats across the board as well, which means he's very strong and clean in the tackle. Decent reactions, decent short passing. Now, guys, if we get into some of the cons, and of course, sorry, his pace. Now, that pertains particularly towards his sprint speed. If we get into the cons, guys, his acceleration is a con as like next to his sprint speed because he does have lower acceleration. That does need a helping hand with a shadow. I do feel like although his defensive stats are good, they're not elite, so you do need to boost that with the chemistry style as well, in my opinion. I also think, guys, that his stamina is a bit of an issue, especially late into the game, because if you're chasing those fast strikers or those substitutes that have come on, your Kents or someone like that, Gervinho's coming on as well, he's going to struggle late in the game too. And his passing was a bit dodgy at times as well, guys. The short pass is okay, those 10 to 15 yard passes, anything longer than that he did actually struggle a little bit, so that was something just to bear in mind as well. In terms of player traits, we've got none to speak of here, guys, so having covered all that, we're going to get into some of the clips that I got with him. So guys, getting into some of FIKAYO Tomori's clips, and what you guys are going to see is just his general defensive capability and how I managed to play with this card over the gameplay that I of course used him in. Now guys, the one thing I do want to say before I say any of this is that I felt like the gameplay was quite slow when I was using this card and quite laggy, so I may have struggled a little more with this card, and therefore that might have skewed how I thought this card played. However guys, when I do talk about this card, I do feel like there are certain elements you do need to help out, and certain elements which are okay. Let's just get into the first con, which I'm going to start with the cons because it's a big one, is his pace. Now, although on the face of the card his pace looks like one of the standout stats, this card has lower acceleration than sprint speed, which I would prefer it's the other way around. But guys, what that means is that he feels a little slow to get to speed. What you do need to do is boost that so that he's able to keep up with those players later into the game, or at the start of the game as well, just so he's able to keep up with them. You can see they're contesting with Ryan Kent. Once you can get level with them, guys, this card has a ridiculous amount of strength. You can tackle anyone, take on anyone that you want. He'll be able to hold his own against most players. The next thing I want to get into, guys, is his defending. Now, his defending is good. I do feel like, again, this needs a little bit of a boost just because it's not at that elite level. And I feel like this card has really got its price tag from the fact that he is English in Serie A with 5-star skill moves and 4-star weak foot, or whatever the order is that he has that. It really is lovely to have all that, but guys, I feel like the price is a little bit inflated because of that. This defender is good, but not necessarily great. Now guys, the next thing I'm going to get into, and we'll talk about a pro, is his physicality. Now overall guys, I think his physicality is tremendous. I do feel like his strength and aggression play really well to having a strong dominant centre back in there. I do feel like though guys that this card does have really poor stamina, and late in the game when people are bringing on players like Kent, Gervinho, other players like that, Mbappe's and Neymar's coming on, he really was struggling because although he has the pace to keep up with them, he doesn't have the stamina to go with them. He only has 81 stamina, so by the end of the game he is looking a bit tired, and on the fast breaks, when your opponents are counter-attacking, he may struggle a little bit there. You guys can see there already immediately his stamina is a lot lower than the other players. The passing is decent, guys. The 10 to 15 yard passes are fine, absolutely perfect, but his longer passing is quite poor, so that's something I would bear in mind. However, guys, what he does have over a lot of centre backs as well is decent agility and reactions, so that allows you to be a little more technical when moving with the ball with this card. The last few clips, guys, you're just going to see more of the same, and you've seen some fairly good blocks, tackles, and the rest in between, and that really showcases his overall completeness in terms of defender. I mean, here he chases back Salah, takes the ball so easily, and it's an easy pass out, and he just did that over and over again for me, guys. And although I do compare him to Tapsoba, who is one of the most phenomenal centre backs in the game, I do feel like this card performed very well. This is the final clip, guys. Another tackle, more of the same. So guys, getting into this final FIKAYO Tomori summary, 710k on the PlayStation, 595 on the Xbox, and 780 on the PC. Now guys, that is quite expensive. I am lucky enough to have mine as an untradeable card. Got it from Division Rivals Rewards, so I don't have to worry about that so much, but it is a big cost for you guys, so we will look at that further on in the review. In terms of chemistry style, guys, again, I'm going to suggest you boost that pace. You don't necessarily have to boost the defending, but if you do not, he will not have elite defending. Just bear that in mind, guys, that his defensive awareness is good, his tackling is good, his interceptions are good. They're not great. So my recommended chemistry style for you would, of course, be the Shadow. It takes his defending to an elite level, it takes his pace to an elite level, and allows him to compete. And his physical stats are more than good enough to compete, except for that stamina, which of course you cannot fix anyway. The other thing to consider as well, guys, is that he's not the best passer, but he does have decent agility and reactions and composure, so that's nice in a centre-back, although he may not have the best stamina. You can offset a lot of the bad effects of this card just by placing the Shadow on him. In terms of similar players, guys, I did liken him a lot actually to this Mario Hermoso. I think it's a very good shout. I do think if you're going to compare him to someone like Tapsoba, who is a very good centre back, I do think Tapsoba is a better card for me. This card obviously has the link ability, the league, the weak foot, the skill moves, all of that good stuff going for him, so that's why he's obviously worth more. However, if I was to stack him up defender against someone, say like a Tapsoba, or suggest guys who you think you would like me to compare him against in the comments, I will let you know what he's like. I do think this card stacks up well. I do think, of course, he's better than this Hermoso card, but a lot of the factors going for him are the intangible factors around his nationality, his league, and of course his skill moves and weak foot. In terms of link ability, guys, you've got no perfect links there, of course, but strong links to a bunch of players, English icons, of course, as well as AC Milan players, other English players in Serie A, which you can form a nice partnership with Chris Smalling. So really nice cards to link into, actually. And then, of course, you've got all the AC Milan boys, Hernandez in particular, whose price will be coming down, guys, with these packs coming out this week on the Player Days promo. So you've got some nice link ability there. If we look at the price, guys, of this card compared to others, you've got Inform Kyle Walker, who for me is one of the best centre backs in the game, at 822k. You've got this Tomori at 710k. Now I'm going to use the PlayStation prices, guys. It's just what I'm used to. Smalling is a little bit lower at 609, and then of course you're in amongst all of these icons. If we just look upwards, then you guys can see there's icons up until Ramos, and then icons down below as well. If you ask me, is he better than these Sol Campbell cards at the bottom here, I'm going to say yes, guys. He is better than Sol Campbell for me at any variant that you want to put out there, and better than this Rio Ferdinand as well. Do I think he's better than Carlos Puyol? I think that's very subjective. I think it depends on how you defend with Puyol. I do think Puyol's a fantastic defender, it just wasn't suited to me. For me, Tomori was better. However, guys, you may look at it a different way if you've learned how to use Puyol in the right way. Compared to this Informed Varane, guys, I would say Tomori is just a more well-rounded player, but the thing that I would say that goes against Tomori is that Varane is much more meta than this card, and for some reason this Tomori card feels a lot slower maybe than this Rafael Varane. But overall, guys, I would say this card is actually priced fairly well considering where he sits. I mean, the icons he sits amongst, I do think he's better or worse than them respectively. And compared to the other players he's around as well, I do feel like it's a fair price for him. Which leads me into my final recommendation, guys, is that if you are going to pick up this card and you're able to fit him into your team, or you're able to build a good team around him, then I think this card is 100% worth it. I do think that he will be usurped by some of the Team of the Season cards to come out, so that's something to bear in mind, is that I think this price will drop hard during Team of the Season. However, guys, what you will have is a great card to link across leagues, across nations, and that gives you some real flexibility in your squad as well, which is really lovely to have. So overall, guys, my recommendation on this card, buy it if you can get it, and if you're going to build a team around him. I wouldn't just buy him, obviously, just to keep him as another player that you can chuck in there at times. However, guys, this card is very good. Will be usurped by some of the TOTS cards, guys, and its price will fall. So please, please, please do bear that in mind. TOTS is only around the corner, so if you can hold off until the Serie A team comes out and the better centre backs are released, then you might be able to get this card at a much lower price. Hope you guys did enjoy this review. If you did, please do smash that like button, and until next time, I will see you all in a bit.